Hey everyone, today is Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. Part 2 of the video of the vacation trip. We're going to turn right first to Madison Avenue. We're going to be heading to Paterson Great Falls National Historic Park. I didn't even know this existed, but it is very new. So we're going to talk a little bit about the history once we get there. But to get to New Jersey, we're taking a little bit of a detour to get a better view of one of the most iconic spots of New York City, Times Square. Yeah, Times Square, place where New Year's Eve they do the iconic ball drop. So we're going to be able to get a better view of this. So we're just going to head a little bit north towards East 47th Street and then make a left heading in the westbound direction. Whoa, that guy went through the red light. But in New York City, there is these one-way roads are synchronized, called a green wave. We're going straight, this 45th. 2 more blocks. We're right now on Madison Avenue. Now, I was talking about before in the previous video about the Manhattan Street Grid within the Commissioner Plan of 1811. Let's turn here. The Commissioner's Plan incorporated all of the blocks from Houston Street to 155th Street and the 12 avenues, numbered avenues, and the 4 lettered avenues A through D. But there were some recent additions that were added here. Not recent, but they were added to the plan. So I talked about before in the 1930s and 40s, they added Lexington and Madison avenues. That's not original to the plan. And then in the 1850s, they added Central Park. Yep, Central Park was not in the original plan. Central Park is the 6th largest park in the city, located between 5th and 8th Avenues. The street renamed in 8th Avenue is called Central Park West, and 59th Street to 110th Street. The 6th largest park, containing 843 acres, or 1.317 square miles. It is the most visited urban park in the United States, with an estimated 42 million visitors annually as of 2016. And it is one of the most filmed locations in the world. Yes, I can say that. The creation of the large park in Manhattan was first proposed in 1840s for a 778-acre park approved in 1853. The landscape architects Frederick Law Olmsted and Calvert Vaux won a design competition for the park with their Greensward plan. Construction began in 1857. Existing structures, including a majority black settlement called Seneca Village, were seized through eminent domain and razed. The park's first areas were opened to the public in late 1858. Additional land at the northern end of Central Park was purchased in 1859, and the park was completed in 1876. After a period of decline in the early 20th century, New York City Parks Commissioner Robert Moses, yep, that Robert Moses, the master builder, started a program to clean up Central Park in the 1930s. The Central Park Conservancy, created in 1980 to combat further deterioration in the late 20th century, refurbished many parts of the park starting in 1980s. So, as you see all these lights here, we are approaching Times Square. Although the portion here, north of 45th Street, is called Duffy Square, creating a bow tie shaped street, I guess, what do you call that? Infrastructure plan. You can see the TKTS booth right here, and then it has a little stage platform on the left. That's usually one of the best iconic shots to get a high view and to get the let's see. So let's turn left, southbound 7th Avenue. Look at all these billboards and all these lights, and it's quiet. You would never think Times Square would be this quiet. Oh, and I think we just saw a light here. Here's 2025. I can't see the ball here, unfortunately, but there was a screen that talked about a new ball. So the current the ball here, the crystal ball, is the 6th iteration and the addition of the ball, and this is actually the final year they're going to use it, being used since 2009. they're going to introduce a new ball for the 2026 event celebration in a few months from now, to get a brand new design. So that's what they were advertising here. So it looks like usually a lot of concerts happen around the triangle on the right, and we're going to be heading straight. This is 45th Street. We're diagonal with Broadway. Before this, there used to be a lot of cars around here, but they converted Broadway into a pedestrian plaza, and I think it fits very well. So now we entered into Times Square. So this is actually very safe. This is actually considered to be a no-gun zone law. And we're crossing the iconic 42nd Street, the entrance to the Lincoln Highway. We're going to turn here on 41st Street to enter to the Lincoln Tunnel. So let's turn here. I do have a tour on my other videos on my channel talking about Times Square in person. I did that last year if you want to go see, and more lively conditions of what it actually looks like is what people would say. Now as we are approaching 8th Avenue, we see this structure above us. This is actually the Port Authority bus terminal. It opened in December 15th, 1950, with major additions added on much later. But if you can see above, there's a New Jersey Transit bus. This is actually a bus terminal run by the Port Authority, and it is the busiest bus terminal in the world by volume of traffic, serving about 8,000 buses and 225,000 people on an average weekday. More than 65 million people per year. Port Authority bus terminal consists of many levels. I think there's about 4 levels, because they have an upper level, like a second floor for office space, and 2 levels for buses to travel along from, especially New Jersey Transit and all the tour buses would like to come here. The bus stop here, usually when they film stuff, the news like to stop around here. And yeah, very busy, very busy. So if you're in New Jersey, taking the Port Authority bus terminal is an alternative to New Jersey Transit. All right, we see a lot of cameras here as we cross into 9th Avenue. Don't worry, we're not going to be charged twice. We're going straight. We're going straight. Lincoln Tunnel is straight ahead. We're not going to be charged twice. I think this is some weird thing the MTA is doing to, get people if they go the wrong way, but or if they want to monitor people exiting the zone. We're crossing here, Dyer Avenue here. It's not a numbered avenue, and it's added after the plan. I think this is named after one of the Port Authority leaders, or maybe he designed one of the tunnels or something. But all these cars are basically coming from New Jersey. No reason for Manhattan traffic to travel on this small stretch of avenue. So this street is actually pretty wide, 41st Avenue. Okay, head towards the left lane. Next up, we're gonna cross over 10th Avenue. We need the center lane. We're gonna be turning left very soon. 10th Avenue extends north all the way up to 193rd Street, I believe. But it's given a different name, Amsterdam Avenue. That's because when the Dutch settled here, New York used to be called New Amsterdam, named after the city in Europe. So once the British came over, then they had a king named, I think named after Duke of York, and that's how we get the name New York from. All right, we're gonna turn left right here. This small little street is called Galvin Avenue. It's not really mentioned here in any of the streets, but it's named after a Port Authority executive or chairman, I believe, who ran for about, I think, 10 years. I think it was in like the earlier stages. But yes, we're gonna enter the iconic Lincoln Tunnel. So let's start with the Lincoln Tunnel. Lincoln Tunnel carries New Jersey and New York state routes 495. And this is the same 495 that would have been an Interstate 495 connecting with the Long Island Expressway. Okay, so we're gonna go enter the northbound tube, which is, I think that is the original tube. I'm gonna have to look at my notes. So the Lincoln Tunnel was originally proposed in the 1920s and 1930s as the Midtown Hudson Tunnel, a set of 3 tubes connecting Midtown Manhattan with Weehawken, New Jersey. So the northern tube consists of westbound only. The center tube is reversible, consists of any direction. I believe there's an HOV lane or bus restricted during rush hours. The southern tube is eastbound only. Let's talk about some technical stats. The length is 1.5 miles long, with the north tube being the shortest at 7,482 feet. The center tube is the longest at 8,216 feet, and the southern tube is in the middle at 8,000 feet. The speed here is 35 miles an hour. It's pretty straight, so you can probably go a little faster if you want. The lowest elevation here is at 97 feet underground, with below sea level, with a tunnel clearance of 13 feet tall. That's why a lot of buses can probably travel here pretty safely. The width of the tunnel is 21.5 feet, very wide. Daily traffic, according to 2016 levels, is 112,995 vehicles per day. And that makes sense, especially with the Port Authority bus terminal being so close to us. A lot of vehicles would want to travel here, and a lot of passengers. It's named after the 16th U.S. President, Abraham Lincoln, or first member of the Republican Party, the GOP. The guy on the penny for over 100 years, although the penny seems to be dying very soon due to high costs. He is the president during the American Civil War from 1861 to 1865 until his assassination. And the first I already talked about that. Construction and opening dates. So this tunnel is constructed by the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, PANYNJ. Center tube opened first, 1934 to 1937. Opening on December 22nd, 1937. Oh, we're exiting here and entering the Helix. Welcome to New Jersey. The northern tube opened in 1945 with delays in constructions in World War II due to material shortages, and the southern tube opened much later in 1957 because there was high traffic demand in the other 2 tubes, especially on the approaches. So probably if you want the fastest crossing, I think the Lincoln Tunnel is probably the best one, especially if you're entering into Manhattan. Tolls are only collected in the eastbound direction. The Easy Pass needs to be New York or New Jersey to get the discount. So the rates normally for the peak hours is $16.06. For the weekday rate is charged 6 to 10 a.m. and 4 to 8 p.m. Weekends peak is 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Off peak you save about $2, $14.06, and if you pay tolls by mail, it is $18.31.
Hey there, post-editing Dennis here. Sorry for interrupting the drive, but I did make a big mistake here regarding the tolls for the Port Authority. First, let's go to the Port Authority website. It reads, "Note, the following toll adjustments went into effect on July 6, 2025. Introduction of a new mid-tier toll rate for all vehicles. See footnote under toll table below for explanation, or click here for mid-tier FAQs. Increase in toll by mail rate for vehicles classes 1, 7, and 11, and the elimination of the truck volume discount." So, the toll of $18.31 is not accurate. Let's take a look at the new toll rate. We see the adjusted 2025 toll rates. So, our vehicle here is Class 1, vehicles with 2 axles or single rear vehicles. So you can see that the Easy Pass, the off-peak, and the peak hours are the same. The Easy Pass mid-tier rate is a little more expensive at $18.72. But oh no, when we look at tolls by mail, all hours, there's no discount. It is $22.38. When I was coming back home, I thought that was including the congestion charge. But no, the Port Authority really wants to get all of those out-of-state drivers, taking advantage of extra $4 just to enter into Manhattan or New York City if you're entering into Staten Island. Yeah, so the mid-tier rate over here shows that it only is in effect if you don't mount your Easy Pass properly. So make sure your Easy Pass is properly centered and aligned so the toll reader can scan it. But also keep in mind, the massive discount for the Port Authority crossings are only in effect if you have a New York or New Jersey Easy Pass. I'm sorry, but out of other states, you're not going to get the discount with whatever Easy Pass. Basically something called toll transponder discrimination. So, if you're planning to drive into New York City, I highly recommend you consider getting a New York Easy Pass specifically because you get the bigger discounts. Unless if you're planning to drive on like the New Jersey Turnpike, then I would consider probably getting a New Jersey Easy Pass. But for me, I don't really take the New Jersey Turnpike, so no reason for me to get it. All right, now that you know how expensive it is, and it just happened this past week on July 6th, that was a Sunday. So, sorry for the interruption, but let's go back to the video.
Yeah, that's pretty expensive. And remember to add the congestion pricing charges on top of that, which is pretty expensive. Yeah. So, it used to be designed by old Stingrad, a Norwegian-American civil engineer best known for his work on the underwater vehicular tunnel in New York City, and designed the ventilation system for the Holland Tunnel, which subsequently became common use for automotive tunnels, and the advanced use of the immersed tube method. There seems to be a heavy traffic merge. Let's see if we can get in the left lane. As you can see here, we only have 2 lanes here. The buses here on the left are taking our lane. These are reversible. That's why we see the arrows. The underwater tunnel building is a system of constructing tunnels with prefabricated sections. He also designed the Lincoln Tunnel, Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, and the Queens Midtown Tunnel. By 1950, Singsad designed and overseen construction of more underwater tunnels than all engineers combined. And it used to carry, as I said, Interstate 495 from 1959 to 1986 because of the proposed Mid-Manhattan Expressway, the MME. Let's go into the right lane because we got to go into Route 3. It was meant to connect with the Queens Midtown Tunnel and the Long Island Expressway, but canceled in the 1970s. Activists and residents throughout the community. Interstate 495 later decommissioned into New Jersey Route 495. That's where we are right now, called the Lincoln Tunnel approach. And technically, New Jersey 495 is not even built to interstate standards and was grandfathered into the system. I mean, look at these shoulders and the width of these lanes. Yeah, this doesn't look like interstate standards to me. Okay, so we're gonna stay on this lane for New Jersey Route 3 West to Secaucus, the sports complex, and the Garden State Parkway. So we can stay on this lane. What we passed before is the Lincoln Tunnel approach called the Helix that we passed by a few minutes ago. It is an elevated spiral freeway, oval-shaped 270-degree loop. Built in 1937 to 1938 and opened in 1938 with a design life of 82 years. That would have mean that it would have ended in 2020. I'm gonna go the express lane. It is built because Weehawken is built on the Palisade Cliff, which are 180 feet high. The Helix has traditionally known to offer a panoramic view of the Manhattan skyline, as I talked about this in the previous video. Currently undergoing rehabilitation starting in 2023 and fully refurbished by 2027. All right, our control city here, Meadowlands Parkway, the sports complex. Route 3 is pretty much a flowing freeway. We just passed by the New Jersey Turnpike, Eastern Spur, which is I-95. We're technically in the middle of the Western Spur of I-95, the New Jersey Turnpike. Although the eastern spur was more original, and the western spur opened in 1970. Route 3 is 10.84 miles connecting from US 19 in North Bergen, Hudson County to US 46 in Clifton, Passaic County. Route 3 serves as a main artery to the Lincoln Tunnel to I-80 in conjunction with portions used from Route 46 and 495. Portions of the route are not built to freeway standards and driveways serving businesses and bus stops. We'll see that much later. Route 3 has provided access to Hoffman La Roque, former American headquarters in Nutley, the Meadowlands Sport Complex, and the American Dream Mall in East Rutherford. This road inspired a story in The New Yorker in 2004 by Ian Fraser due to its Manhattan skyline. We're not going to see the Manhattan skyline here, but we'll see it on the other side. You see the mall on the right here? That's called the American Dream Mall. That is brand new. So going back to Roche, it is a Swiss multinational holding healthcare company. Actually, specifically a pharmaceutical company, being the 5th largest pharmaceutical company in the world by revenue and the leading provider of cancer treatments globally. In 2023, the company's seat in Forbes Global 2000 was number 76. As we talk about the Meadowlands Sports Complex, we can see a sign for MetLife Stadium. That's one of them. Other facilities we see are the Meadowlands Racetrack, considered home of horse racing, American Dream Meadowlands, consisting of the American Dream Mall. Talking about some more information later. The former Meadowlands Arena, opened from 1981 to 2015. Recent years, it's called the Izod Center. And then the Quest Nelson Training Center. We just saw that on the right. That's the training center for the New York Giants. And going back to the MetLife Stadium, it's the home of the famous football teams, the New York Giants and the New York Jets, and recently hosted the Super Bowl number 43 in 2014. Going back into the American Dream Mall, it is the 2nd largest mall in the United States behind the Mall of America in Bloomington, Minnesota. Opened in 4 sections starting in October 25th, 2019 to October 1st, 2020. And there are some major attractions. First of all, there's Nickelodeon Universe, an indoor theme park containing more than 35 rides and attractions. Opened in October 25th, 2019. Then we got the DreamWorks Water Park, which originally was set to open on November 23rd, 2019, but was delayed to October 1st, 2020, Phase 4. And as of then, we got Big Snow American Dream Ski Slope, opened in December 5th, 2019. As of August 2024, the mall hosted approximately 450 retail tenants and over 100 eateries. All right, this section of Route 3, I think it was upgraded much more recently. The old section used to carry about 3 lanes in each direction, and yeah, glad that this is done. Much more upgraded. Okay, we got to exit here. We're going to be taking Route 21. So let's go into the right, heading towards Paterson, where we're going, northbound, or Newark, or south. This road is actually heads straight down into Newark with the major arterial called the McCarter Highway. All right, let's go into, I think we have one more lane. Yeah, that's an exit only lane. Look how many vehicles that travel here. There's a lot. Oh, this is ending here. Okay, Route 3 goes into Clifton, which is not really where we're going, but we're going to Route 21. All right, 21 north is the left lane. But I like that this road is very smooth. It's well maintained, brand new, especially the bridges here, redone into a collector distributor lane. And we're crossing the Passaic River. Okay, it looks like all these vehicles may be traveling south to Newark, but we're going to be heading north. Follow, hey, right.
Oh, no.
Whoa. Follow the lines, please. Oh, this truck is turning. Paterson, that's where we're going. All right, Route 21. a 14.35 mile state highway connecting Interstate 78, US 1 and 9, US 22 in Newark near Newark Airport, to US 46 and New Jersey NJ 20 in Clifton. Yeah, the control city is technically Paterson, where we're heading, but it ends in Clifton. That section here north is a freeway following the west bank of the Passaic River, as you can see here on my right, and is there is a non-freeway divided section highway running for 5 miles in downtown Newark called the McCarter Highway. Okay. This is a very free-flowing roadway. Okay, before I talk a little bit more about this, let's talk about these ancient-looking signs called button copy. If you remember in a road trip back then, about 20 years ago, these seems to be pretty popular. These button copy signs are round plastic retroreflective buttons made of transparent plastic and are placed in rows following the contours of the sign legend elements, usually painted white, such as letters, numbers, arrows, and borders. The button copy has been supplanted by a new technology, retroreflective sheeting, made by various manufacturers in numerous colors and grades. As state departments of transportation increasingly stopped specifying button copy signs in favor of signs made with sheeting, it became uneconomical to maintain production of the materials and supplies for making button copy signs. The last state to specify button copy signs was Arizona, which switched to sheeting in the year 2000. The advantage of button copy is durability. It is well made. Button copy has a service life of about 40 years. These signs are definitely more than 40 years old, I can say. And in contrast, signs made of retroreflective sheetings are expected to only last about 15 years. However, at night, retroreflective sheeting is clearly visible, readable at much longer distances than button copy. Okay, so exit 100, we're not approaching there yet. Going back to Route 21, it is created in 1921 to run from Newark to Bellevue. Then in 1948, the route was extended north to Paterson. In the 1950s, construction began on the freeway portion of Route 21 and was completed in stages between Chester Avenue in Newark and Monroe Street in Passaic in 1958 and 1973. So, as we're approaching here, this seems to be the original section, the old section, ending in 1973, being exit 12. Market Street, Monroe Street in Passaic. That's where it used to end. And then we're going to be approaching the newer extension, opened in 2000. Plans were made to extend the freeway north to I-80 in Elmswood Park. However, they were opposed by residents living on the East Coast. Here's the newer section. You can see that the concrete and the walls, the sound barrier, is here to better obstruct the freeway from the Passaic River. And in the 1980s, another extension of Route 21 freeway was proposed to US 46 in Clifton. The section was built between 1997 and 2000. The surface portion of Route 21 through Newark underwent many improvements in 1990s and 2000s. Talking about a little more of the extension here, the official plans were made in 1996, and in 1997, construction began on the freeway. This opened in December 20th, 2000, at a cost of $136 million. However, this route was limited mostly to 4 lanes, 3 lanes at the northern end, utilizing the right-of-way of the Dundee Canal. And that's what we're going to see right now. We're going to be merging into 1 lane as this highway ends. A wider highway would have been encroached on private property on the Passaic River, which would have added greater costs if you extended towards the left. So that's why we see these rumble strips here, because we are going to be merging into 1 lane going into US 46. I believe that we passed the Dundee Canal a while back, and then we see on the right here this lake here. That's added because of the dam that was built, I think, in the 1800s. Yeah. This section is just a merge going into single lane. The overpass above is US 46 eastbound. I gotta say, this is a lovely view of good skyline, no haze, dew point is pretty high, and partly cloudy today. All right, we're gonna be ending Route 21 right here. And here you can see the 3 lanes. All right, we're gonna stay on the right because we're gonna go ahead, exit very quickly to Route 20. Now we're entering US 46. That looks like a new bridge here. I'm not sure what road that is. Maybe, I think, is that I-80? I'm not sure. Okay. So we can stay here in this lane. We have to exit towards the left, see? North 20 to I-80, Paterson. Follow all these cars. Route 20 is also known as McLean Blvd, runs 4.15 miles from Clifton to Paterson, and it also parallels the Passaic River. And as soon as we enter here, we see the control city is Hawthorne. We're going to be taking I-80, follow these cars. So this is an alternative way to enter into Paterson. I-80 is heading towards Elmore Park or Paterson. These are very close control cities. So I guess this makes more sense to local and not really long distance traffic. Okay, we got to be careful about this section. We got to figure out our lanes. I-80 East heads towards New York City, but we're going to head towards the left, towards Market Street, Paterson, and Elmore Park, to I-80 West. Follow that red car who's going to go merge into the left lane, because we're going to take I-80 for a little bit. Oh, that's really quick. Oh, this guy, okay. I-80 West to the Delaware Water Gap. Stay on this left lane. I do have a video on the Delaware Water Gap if you want to take a look. It was very lovely when I saw it. Okay. We're not gonna fall to Route 20 where it says to Paterson. We're gonna go take a little bit towards the west, so we can go on the expressway for a little bit. But hey, this is like all these like going under and over and stuff, the weaving. I would say this is fun to drive. So we're gonna stay here for maybe about 2 or 3 miles. So we're just gonna stay around in the right lane. Okay. I-80 is the longest, the second longest interstate in the country, behind I-90, of about 2,900 miles long. Okay, let's go into the third lane, left lane, because we're not exiting yet. It's a lot of Paterson exits. Let's talk about Paterson. Paterson is a city first established in November 22nd, 1791. In 1791, Alexander Hamilton, the first United States Secretary of Treasury, helped founded the Society of Establishing Useful Manufacturers, SUM, which helped encourage the harnessing of energy from the Great Falls of the Passaic River to secure economic independence of British manufacturers. And we're going to be taking a look at the Great Falls, which has a significant history. Okay, we're going to be exiting here, 57B, downtown Paterson. So we can actually go on the right lane, because this is not exit only. So let's go on the right lane. I think this is not exit only. Yep, it's not. Okay. The society founded Paterson, the energy of the Passaic River, independence from British manufacturers. The society founded Paterson. Let's exit here, right lane. Which which became the cradle of the Industrial Revolution of America. Paterson is named after William Paterson, statesman, signer of the Constitution, second governor of New Jersey. Okay, very good. Paterson, Great Falls, there's the sign. So let's just follow those signs. Okay, who signed the 1792 charter that established the town of Paterson. Also in 1787, the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, William Paterson proposed the New Jersey Plan, which would have provided equal representation among states in Congress. All right, in the traffic light, let's turn right. There's a sign that says Paterson, Great Falls. Turn here. This partially exists, the New Jersey Plan, because in the U.S. Senate, a House of the legislative branch actually follows this proposal. We're going to turn right. You can actually turn right on red. So treat it as like a stop sign. Okay. Because in this U.S. Senate, there are 50 states with 2 senators per state, adding to a total of 100 senator representatives. If we go back to the timeline of William Paterson, he is the Attorney General of New Jersey from 1776 to 1783, a U.S. Senator from New Jersey from 1789 to 1790, the second governor of New Jersey from 1790 to 1793, and finally, an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States from 1793 until his death on September 9th, 1806. Paterson is actually nicknamed the Silk City because of its once dominant role in silk production during the latter half of the 19th century. Paterson is located in Passaic County. The county derived its name Passaic, which is a native Lenape word meaning valley. Paterson is the 3rd largest municipality in New Jersey with a population of 159,732 residents as of the 2020 census, and it is the 168th largest in the country. Okay, go straight. We're going to turn right here on Spruce Street. And there's the sign. Okay, it has been evolved into a major destination for Hispanic immigrants as well as immigrants from Turkey, the Arab world, and South Asia. Paterson has the 2nd largest nation per capita Muslim population, being number 1, Dearborn, Michigan. In addition to silk, being the textile industry, other major industries involving manufacturing include firearms, silk, railroad locomotive manufacturing industries. And right here on the right, this is the Paterson Museum. We're going to be taking a look at this later. But for now, we're going to be heading straight to the falls. Okay, the parking lot is located here. So let's turn right. Oh, and actually there is a sign right here by NPS. Let's turn right here. Go ahead. We got to take a look at that sign later. Is the parking lot open? Yes. Well, let's go inside. Turn right, left. And there's the waterfall in the back. The bridge is closed, but here it is, 77 feet tall. Wow. Let's park over there in front of the falls. And they do have porta potties here, as well as this staircase that we're going to be traveling here. Let's just park right here. And I think that's the statue of Alexander Hamilton. Turn here. Attention, and there's a sign, this area is subject to video surveillance. I've heard that this park says that it's a 2-hour parking limit, but I gotta look at this much closer because I don't see any signs that says that. Oh wow, the waterfall is right here. All right, that concludes our drive from Midtown Manhattan to Paterson, New Jersey. If you enjoy this video, please give this video a like. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more adventures like this. I will have a video talking about this, and I hope to catch you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.